All right. Hello, everybody. Kelly and I are here for our coffee table chat about cozy mysteries.
Yay.
And we were just talking about how we've been enjoying our slower day today. At least I have been slowing. Yeah.
I'm glad that you had a slower day. It's always
Yes. Yes. So I have my coffee. I know you don't have coffee, Kelly.
I have lemon spice tea. It's herbal.
Ooh.
It is great value and it tastes like it is not Walmart brand. It tastes very good. So
That's awesome. I have never bought tea, like Walmart brand tea.
yeah, I like they have a peach herbal that I like as well. And then I just tried the cranberry hibiscus,
Ooh.
which I did not like hot, but I really liked it iced. It was really good iced. So
Nice. Yeah, I like the fruity ones iced in the summer, especially.
yes.
Those are good. But lemon spice, you said? What kind of spice?
Lemon spice. So it's lemon and it's kind of like fall spices, like
Okay.
a little bit of cinnamon, maybe like a hint of like nutmeg. So it sounds weird, but it works. It just really works. It would be it would definitely be good for a teacher that is talking to kids all day to have on the side.
Yeah, that seems like something would be really good, like if you are not feeling well.
Yes, I mean, it definitely is tasty enough to have any time, but like definitely one of those, like if you need a little bit of an extra help with your throat.
Yes, I'm going to have to keep that in mind because 100% that happens. So, all right, Alma is here.
Hey, Alma.
And she says she can't drink coffee because then she won't sleep. So actually, I have decaf here, definitely. I mean, I will on occasion drink regular in the evening, but it's better for me if I don't.
Yeah. You have to get up very early in the morning, don't you? Probably.
I do, yes.
To take away all things that would inhibit quick sleep at night.
Yes. Well, for me, what happens if I drink coffee later in the evening, it wakes me up earlier in the morning, like 4 o'clock in the morning or something.
Interesting.
And then I can't go back to sleep. And I don't like
no fun.
Yeah. So Jamie is here. Hi, Jamie.
Jamie.
Good to see you. She doesn't like coffee.
I'm not a coffee person either, Jamie.
I
love the smell of it though. So like when people want to meet for coffee or something, I'm down because I can just smell the coffee and drink my chai tea or peppermint tea or whatever.
Chai tea is good too. I like tea and coffee. So I can mix with any crowd. Yeah, I especially like chai tea. And we have some friends who are Indians and they occasionally make us some chai.
Oh, so you have like the real stuff.
Yes. Yeah. It's always really good. So, all right. If you are here, say hello and let us know if you're drinking coffee or tea or nothing.
Yeah. Same, yes. Jamie, same.
Chai is good. So we're here to talk about cozy mysteries. And I like cozy mysteries, but I haven't read very many. And it's like a kind of a newer genre. I feel like, I mean, I think it's been around for a while, but
yes.
It's being called cozy mysteries. And I'm just
I think it's definitely, if it used to be bigger than it is now, it wasn't like in my adult reading time. I mean, I think probably things might have a resurgence, but you know, there are some regular mysteries that feel cozier than others. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know if you read these when you were a little girl. I remember I read the Mandy mysteries when I was a kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I really liked when they would talk about like the Southern food they were eating or something like that. So many times like so even non-considered cozy mysteries, like there are elements that can make the story a little bit more cozy and a little bit less If there's a murder that's happened, a little bit less harsh when they talk about, the environment or the food or things like that. I think that can really, make a regular mystery feel a little cozier, even if it wouldn't be, I think cozy mysteries typically have some formulas that they follow, kind of like a contemporary romance tends to have a formula it follows.
Right.
Like, we wouldn't call it a romance necessarily if the couple didn't get together. That would just be like a love story, right? So like a cozy mystery, they have certain things they follow. That even if it's a series, by the end of that particular mystery, the murderer or whatever is going to be solved. That's going to be wrapped up in that book. And even if it's a series and there are other mysteries that we don't have the answers to, the primary mystery of that book is going to be solved by the end. We have a formula. And I think that's why it's so comforting to so many people, is they know what they're getting into to an extent.
And all of the questions get answered.
Yes. Yeah. They if they're already stressed, they know this is probably not going to make me feel more stressed than I already am. Whereas sometimes you're going into a thriller or something, or I don't really do horror or something like that. You don't know how that content is going to affect you.
Right. What other elements do you think are typically in a cozy mystery?
I think a lot of times, like, to make it cozy, there will be either an animal element, a food or drink element, an environmental element. So, let's say, they'll pick a very specific atmosphere, like we're on a Christmas tree farm, or we're, in Vermont, or we're, on our Texas ranch. It's a very specific environment. And then a lot of times it'll be, my favorite cozy mystery series is a seaside cafe. And so we have Perfect for a Tea Lover, because she has a little tea shop and you get all the descriptions of the tea and the desserts that they have there. And, and then you're by the sea. So you have the environment that makes it feel cozy. And then you have the food or the drink that just bring feelings of memories, or certain times of year. I think that cozy mystery readers are very seasonal, and for me, I tend to gravitate toward them more this time of year, October through like January, maybe September. Just kind of like about this time of year, a lot of people turn on Hallmark. They know what they're going to get with Hallmark. It's not like this is anything revolutionary happening. But they know what they're going to get, and they know that the elements of it are probably comforting. But a lot of the cozy mystery books do tend to have an animal element. So like, there's a cat or a dog that is like almost a little friend. And some of them, if they bring in any type of magical realism or fantasy at all, it is very mild. It's not on the level you would get if you were to read an actual categorized as fantasy book. It's very mild. And it's there for like the atmospheric vibes, as opposed to we are telling a fantastical story. So
I feel like they also are often in small towns, like a small town setting.
Yeah.
There was one I read, oh my goodness, I don't even know when it was, maybe even a year ago. And it was set in a coffee shop in a small town on an island, I think, off of Florida. And it was like a vacation town. So the people that lived there that were permanent residents was a pretty small community. And then in the summer, there would be like a lot of tourists, but the actual community that the story was based on was a very small community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Reading in Darkness says the murder tends to be ridiculous and someone nobody likes. I think that last part is key too. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that you don't feel so terrible
Yeah.
about someone dying who was a terrible person.
Exactly. Yeah, because if it's somebody that's so beloved by the whole town, they're just going to be grieving and they can't move on. And a lot of times um it'll be like the main protagonist is their aunt or their granny or their best friend that's accused of the murder or whatever because they had a riff with this awful person that nobody likes, and so they that is a very predictable thing that happens. And yeah, a lot of times it's like they drowned in, like whipped cream. I mean, it's just something like she said, it's just something. Yeah, there are maybe like some stabbings but like, well, yeah, there's one that I read where I can't remember the author, where like the nutcracker was the murder weapon. It was like a Christmas one, and the nutcracker, and it's like death by nutcracker. I mean, a lot of people that have performed the Nutcracker Ballet probably have almost died from the Nutcracker almost hitting them in the head. But other than that, it's just not something you usually see on the 5 o'clock news, as someone almost dying from a Nutcracker beating them in the head, beating their brains out with a Nutcracker. But yeah, I mean, she does. Paula has a point, because if it's something too grotesque or gruesome, we're not going to accept it as a cozy mystery. It could add stress to our life, instead of just a problem we're mildly interested in solving.
Yeah.
So
I read A Murder in Highbury just the other day. I just finished it the other day. And this one I think qualifies as a cozy mystery. And the person that they kill off, Vanessa Kelly's the author. The person she kills off is Mrs. Elton, which if you've read Emma, Mrs. Elton is the character nobody likes. Yeah. He's obnoxious. And so I think this is going to be a series.
Interesting.
I'm thinking, well, okay, I don't know if she's going to keep all of the mysteries in Highbury, which is the setting of Emma, or if she's going to do other Austen ones or whatever. But anyway, her first person that she killed off was Mrs. Elton, which was a good choice. If she's going to kill off any of the characters that we know already.
Yeah, I mean, people, if Emma or Mr. Knightley are dead, I mean, you're going to put the book down and walk away.
Right, exactly. Or Miss Bates or something.
Yes.
That would be too sad. Let's see. Jamie says, I like cozy mysteries sometimes, but sometimes the formulaic aspect gets on my nerves. Some authors do this more than others, almost as if every story is exactly the same. Yeah. I think sometimes though that predictability is what people want. Yeah. So it kind of depends on your mood, what you're looking for.
Yeah. I think that's why it's a little bit more seasonal for me, because that after a while, the formulaic can start to kind of grate on you and get on your nerves. But I really, especially like, I'm the busiest I am, except for maybe the month of May, October through December. So like just having something I don't have to deeply think about, and it's also something good to read alongside. If I'm reading Dostoevsky, it's a great thing to pair a cozy mystery with that too, because it just balances it out. I don't like to call it a palate cleanser, because I think doesn't always, some of these authors do such a good job of creating their worlds. I don't want to make it sound like it's something that just, we're just going to, call it, something that isn't valuable, if you call it a palate cleanser, although palate cleansers can be very valuable sometimes to just be a stress relief. But yeah, I tend to also, it's interesting, and it gets on my nerves after a while, but I tend to like in short bursts. So I have 3 favorite cozy mystery authors: Bree Baker, Julie Ann Lindsay, and Jacqueline Frost. And guess what?
They're all the same person.
They're all the same person. And so she writes very similarly with all of them. The Jacqueline Frost ones are like the Christmas Tree Farm.
I've read one of
the
those.
Seaside Cafe are the ones that I really love. And those are she writes for Bree Baker. And I would say Julie Ann Lindsay is my next favorite. Those are like the the cider mysteries,
wanna
starting with
read
apple cider
those.
slaying. And I will say, I actually really got into cozy mysteries when my husband had his stroke, and he was not allowed to drive. And just about the time he'd had it, we had committed to a lot of activities that were very important to our kids. And so I would have to, when he was able to go back to work, he still wasn't able to drive because he, couldn't see well enough at this point. I would have to drive him and drop him off at 5 a.m. And sometimes the kids' last activity, I would pick them up at like 9 p.m. And so I was just, and that's when I started listening to cozy mysteries. And that's another thing. I tend to consume these more as listening to them like a bedtime story. I a lot of times will listen and read through my eardrums instead of my eyeballs in these. And not that I can't sit down and read one, but there's something about, usually it's a very rich voice, and it's somebody that's talking like this. And you have that, like, and it's just like, I feel like someone is telling me a bedtime story. So that was, just like, it's interesting because I follow her. I think she's Julie Hatcher now on Instagram because that's what she writes her romances under. But at the time she was as Julie Ann Lindsay. That was the name she was using. It's hard when you have so many names. Which one are you going to choose? But she commented about one of, and I said, this was such a good series for me at a very stressful time in my life. And that's all I commented. And she just wrote me the nicest note back. And it's just like, so, yeah. And she runs a Facebook group for her stuff I've seen, and she is very responsive. So a lot of times, these cozy mystery authors, they are putting out maybe a couple a year. But one thing that she has said, and I've read, is that, and I wonder, you said it would be interesting to talk about the impact that COVID made. She did say that there aren't as many contracts for cozy mysteries as there were a few years ago. So I'm wondering if we're kind of falling off the cozy mystery trend a little bit. And that's why she was writing a little bit more like casual romances, contemporary romances, because there weren't quite as many contracts to be had for cozy mysteries as there were several years ago. And I don't know if several years means 2020, when that was just like, you're saying, it definitely seemed to have an effect on the cozy mystery industry. COVID.
Yeah. Let's catch up on some comments here. Jamie says, I usually want to shake the main character because they're forever getting in the way of the police, and usually in a way that gets them
Yes.
Yes.
True.
For sure. But then I guess you wouldn't have a cozy mystery, because that's another thing. The person who solves the mystery is usually not a detective or a police officer in a cozy mystery.
And a lot of times the like sheriff or the police officer is mad at them, but then they end up getting together.
Right. Yes. That's often the romance element between the person solving the mystery and the police officer. I get annoyed with the overprotective cops. Speaking of, I'm a contrarian, so I don't appreciate them. Yes. Although I can understand, like, if I were a cop just doing my job, I would get irritated with somebody always up in my business.
But don't you think, like, sometimes, like, for some people, and I can understand what you're saying, because I kind of get annoyed by that too. I think for some people, it's like, oh, I like the big strong man thing. Some women really like the protector element of some of those characters. So I think that's probably what the authors are going for a lot of the times, is that element.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not the sort of person who would go tracking down murderers or anything. So
Me either. I would be like going inside and locking my door.
Yes. I hear a noise in my house, like if I'm home by myself, I don't go investigate. I no, whatever happens, happens. I'm not going to go find out what's making that noise. All right, Jamie says they're definitely fun to read this time of year. I think she means I have Jacqueline's new book queued up and ready to listen to on NetGalley.
Oh, that's
Which one is that?
awesome. So yeah, you're getting an early look at that. That's awesome.
I'm guessing that's a Christmas one.
Yeah, like I'm assuming the Christmas Tree Farm, the newest Christmas Tree Farm, which I don't know, Jamie, is that the last one that she's going to publish in that series? Because I think she said that she did not have any more cozy mysteries on contract. Now she publishes some herself, I think, like self-publishes too.
Okay.
And then I know like there's some that like when she has not had, like there is one series that the cider shop that she wrote is Julianne Lindsay. It left open for more, but they didn't contract with her for more. So it's like at that point they have to decide, do I want to do this on my own or am I just going to let it lie? I mean, it was a somewhat satisfying ending, but it was left open where you could see where they could take it different places. So
I wonder how that works if she was publishing a series with a publisher.
Yeah.
What can she do independently? Like,
yeah, a lot of times it just depends probably on the contract that they had,
Yeah.
And probably, these cozy mystery authors are not the ones that are making the big bucks. I wouldn't assume. I would guess that they're probably, their contracts are more on the benefiting the publishing company side instead of the author. Was if you're like Stephen King or something, obviously, right. He has a lot more say on what he wants. But I would imagine, I have a friend that she publishes Christian romance and she's written for Bethany House. Her name's Regina Jennings. And it's like people assume that she, is making buku bucks because she's a published author, but it's just not, it's not the case.
Yeah, I think you have to make it pretty big and then get like movie rights or something in order to make a lot of money. Oh, let's see. Oh, Dia! Hi. And she's sipping chai. Oh, we were just talking about how much we like chai.
Yes. I'm drinking lemon tea, Dia.
Yes, and I'm drinking coffee, Dia. You know me. But it's decaf. It's decaf. Janie says, my school is about 30 minutes away from where I live, so I mostly listen at 2 times speed. Yeah. I can't listen. I mean, my school is also 30 minutes away, but for one thing, I'm driving with my sons most of the time, and they don't want to listen to.
You don't think they want your teenage boys want to listen to that?
No, that's not their thing. So we usually listen to music on our way. When I am by myself, I'm listening to YouTube, like your guys' channels.
Yeah.
So I can't follow audiobooks very well. My brain doesn't work that way.
Did you?
Yeah. Now, see, that's one of the things we're going to talk about. So might as well talk about it now. Kelli mentioned it. I found this quote and actually wrote it down. I'm going to read it. It was from shewrites.com, and it was an article about the trends in publishing in 2025. But there was a comment about the prevalence of cozy books, not just cozy mysteries, but like cozy
in general.
And they said, in 2020, many readers began to seek comfort reads. Sorry, I'm trying to read my chicken scratch. Books with low stakes, high fun, and minimal anxiety. Again, as the world faces an ever-increasing amount of strain, busyness, and difficulty, the need for escapist fiction has never been greater. Sometimes we just want to feel good, laugh, and get a happy ending. So whether it's a cozy mystery set in a small town, a cozy fantasy about fun-loving trolls, or an adventure on an adventure, sorry, or a cozy sci-fi. Now, they mentioned this. I don't think this is a cozy sci-fi, personally. The Midnight Library. Have you read that? I've read that by Matt
I
Haig.
haven't.
I didn't think of it as either cozy or sci-fi. I mean, I guess I get the sci-fi element, but it was more fantastical than sci-fi, I thought. Like, there's this library that she can go to at midnight, but the books are different lives.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, she could go back to a point in her life where she made a particular choice, and she can choose this book where she makes a different choice. And she could see how that different choice would play out. And so she goes through all of these different scenarios in her life, and she comes to the conclusion that none of those other options would, I mean, this is simplifying it, but would have been better than what she actually ended up with, like her actual life.
Yeah.
So, but it was kind of heavy because it was dealing with.
Yeah, I've heard people
Suicidal
have
thoughts.
to actually had to stop reading it because they were getting depressed.
Yeah, it's heavy. It's heavy reading, and the girl is dealing with some really heavy emotional issues. So I would
Yeah.
not call that cozy. That was a strange example. Anyway, going on. They use devices like time travel or parallel universe to speak to something deeply human. Many readers are in search of light, easy fiction that entertains. A story doesn't have to be complex or hard hitting to be enjoyable. And the person who wrote this article was attributing this trend to the stress of 2020. So I just thought that was an interesting Dia, that you mentioned that was when you started reading it. And I remember in 2020, I had a hard time, particularly in the spring, because, oh my goodness, our school switched to online learning. And I was trying to make my lessons via videos and learning all of the new technology and trying to keep track of all of that. On top of which, trying to keep track of my children who were in, what was it? I think third and sixth grade at the time, trying to keep on top of their online learning. It was crazy. It was so stressful. And so I couldn't focus on anything. So I know for me in 2020, for sure, I read lighter stuff. What I was able to read was definitely lighter. I don't know that I particularly read any like cozy mysteries or that sort of thing, but I totally understand why that would have started trending at that point.
Yeah. That is actually when I started watching BookTube, and I didn't join BookTube then for a while, but it's kind of when I discovered that BookTube even existed. Really, I mean, common sense is there'd probably be something for everything on YouTube, but I had read something and did not have anyone to talk to about it. And I was looking online. And of course, I didn't know how to find small channels at this point, but I found the really big channels that were talking about this book. And so that opened like a whole new world. It's like, wow, there are people out here, talking about, but and then I found, there you couldn't get together with your, homeschool co-op or whatever, couldn't talk to other homeschool moms. I found homeschool channels. So I feel like, there are benefits that we were kind of forced to find things that were less stressful, that maybe now we can pull from that as well, and realize that, hey, this is going to be a really crazy, hard, stressful week. I have to go to a funeral this week. It's probably not the best week to read Gone with the Wind or something
Right.
like that. It's probably not the best time to start, a World War II historical fiction, if you're going to deal with a lot of stuff that week, but it may be a great week to start a cozy mystery or a cozy fantasy or anything cozy. Because I feel like people started talking more about how they were dealing with their stress and giving other people good ideas. And I do think that I started seeing people, not even people on BookTube, but people in my everyday life start posting on Facebook, oh, well, this is what I read this month. Whereas, like, no, they weren't telling anybody what they were reading before COVID.
Yeah.
I think there were definitely benefits as far as people picking up books more, or at least talking about books more, at least in a social media setting, even if they haven't carried that over to real life. And it's better to talk about what you're reading than what you're disagreeing with
For
in
sure.
other areas.
Yeah. And I think that the formulaic nature of cozy mysteries, other cozy books, and like romance novels, I think that formulaic nature of it makes it comforting, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like secure when you're reading during a stressful time, because you know everything is going to turn out okay in the end. Even if there's a bump in the road, it's not a big one, and you'll overcome it. And you don't have to think too much
Yeah.
because it's following a formula. Like
Yeah.
you can disengage your brain a little bit, and that makes it really comforting in a
Yeah.
difficult time or a stressful time. So let's see. Jamie says, I wish Julianne would have written one more in the apple cider series.
Yeah, I know.
I guess I will have to read those. Everybody was talking about them, maybe not this fall, but like the previous 2 falls.
Yeah. So the first one takes place between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So that's a good one. And then book 2 happens in June, and then book 3 happens at Halloween. So
okay. Well, then I can pick one up in November, maybe. Dia says, my favorite cozies are when the main character doesn't get involved with the police, love interest wise. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know you're not a big fan of romance, Dia. But yeah, sometimes it gets a little bit, I don't know, like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah. And that happens in Brie Baker / Julian Lindsay / Jacqueline Frost's books. It's always the cop. There's romance with, which can be like a little bit like, here we go again. But at the same time, I just enjoy her so much. Now, one book that I really enjoyed that you mentioned, something about a lot of times it happens in small towns. I feel like it can work in big cities if you are very neighborhood specific too. So a good example of that, and I found this book from Dia, was it's the Spice Shop Mysteries, and the first one is Salt and Pepper by Leslie Bedowitz. And so those are in, I believe, Seattle, but you're in a very specific neighborhood on a very specific street with different shops and communities around. So I think a community aspect is just very central to any cozy mystery that I have ever read. There's some sort of close-knit community aspect to it.
Yeah.
Which I think was good for 2020 because we were all craving community because we didn't have our communities anymore.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yes, very true. I tend to listen to audiobooks when I'm cleaning, folding laundry, putting away dishes.
Me too. Or watching you guys on YouTube.
Yeah.
or maybe sometimes we're listening to you since I'm folding laundry, doing dishes.
Yeah, I usually have to be doing something. If I have a video.
Well, there's not enough hours in a day, especially when you follow a lot of people. You
yes.
just have to be multitasking. I know they say it's multitasking. It's not great, but cozy sci-fi.
So we get it done.
It's cool. I haven't read that, but
I tried.
I've heard a lot about it.
I tried.
Was it too sad or too weird?
No, I did not like the translation. I think that was part of the problem. I think going from Japanese to English, I think that their sentence structure is different.
Yeah.
And in the English, it ended up being very simplistic sounding, like a child wrote it. And I couldn't handle it. Just very short sentences. And then the characters I thought were behaving in a very childish way. Like, if I remember correctly, towards the beginning of that book, because I didn't get very far, I feel like the girl even like threw herself on the floor and was like having a little temper tantrum on the floor. I might be mixing that up with something else. But I think that was the point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. I that's too
That's interesting you say that, because my son is actually learning Japanese now, and since we homeschool, I'm trying to learn some
yeah,
with
that's
him
cool.
so that he can have someone to practice with. And it is very true. There's the sentence structure is different and much more simplistic than ours. But also, I have had to watch way more to try to preview things for my Japanese culture loving kid anime than I would ever want
Oh,
to in a
yeah.
million years. And I finally got a subscription service where I could say, take out violence, take out sex, take out language, and then just
Oh,
basically preview it. But there is so much, and they're not an over dramatic people, but it's so
yeah.
funny. In their fiction, sometimes there is a certain element of throwing fits to be funny,
Mm,
things like that I found really interesting, because it was several different like anime where it would be like throwing fits would be humor. So I wonder if like
yeah.
it was something that was supposed to be like a moment of humor, but it didn't translate very well to English.
Yeah. I think probably if I tried to read it again or another similar book, I would have to go into it with a I don't know what I'm saying. What's the right word? With the intention of absorbing a different culture, like seeing this as a different culture and
Mm-hmm.
not just trying to read it as an interesting book standing on its own. Because I was just like, oh, the premise sounds really interesting. I'm intrigued by this idea. But the context of the story and the way it was written, I couldn't do it. But if I pick it up as, okay, this is a Japanese story, it's going to have these elements of Japanese culture,
Yeah.
I might be able to read it
Yeah.
more enjoyment. Oh, let's see. Dia started
2019.
watching BookTube in 2019. Yeah, I was a latecomer to the BookTube scene because it actually took me a long time to enjoy watching videos online at all, because videos take too long for me, which is,
Yeah.
I'm glad we can put it on 2 speed. I would always be like, give me the transcript. I can read it faster than they're talking about something.
Yeah.
So I only discovered BookTube a couple years ago, actually, a few years ago, maybe. What? You don't want to read Brothers Karamazov on your way to a funeral?
I would read that before I would read. What gets me is like is funny, like and like why did people in this time period walk around with tuberculosis and just like coughing and dying? And it's like that always gets me, and I'm like, this is so depressing. Why are they walking around? They're like, oh, he's gonna drop dead any minute. So yeah, I probably wouldn't want to be reading the scenes where like the people with tuberculosis are walking around.
Yeah, probably not.
I love serious Russian fiction. I'm just teasing.
I tend to only really like the first book in a cozy series because there isn't a development of romance usually come back until book 2 or 3. That's
Yeah.
true.
But
Makes
did
sense.
you like the epilogue in, because I know you read the Seaside Cafe. Did you like that epilogue? I kind of liked that they had, even though the romance element got a little annoying, I did really enjoy how that all came together in the end. If anybody has read that and isn't big on romance, because I don't read a whole lot of romance. I read my friend Courtney Reed's romances, and I really enjoy those. But for some reason, they seem just a little bit more natural, like a normal person talking. But I can tolerate romance and cozies a lot more than I can a romance by itself for some reason, and I don't know why. But yeah, it is Seattle. Okay. But that book, the character, I can't remember her name, in the Spice Shop Mysteries that Dia's got up on the screen right now. I felt like it was like a much more normal person, like that you might know. Like she was a divorced woman, and like just the talk that her psyche seemed a lot more normal. And that was like very interesting to me, because a lot of times it's like people are a little bit more inflated towards a stereotype, as opposed to maybe a more all around, seeing very different aspects of who they are as a person. I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel like sometimes in cozies we tend to go towards more of a stereotype of a person.
Yeah,
this person is this way, this person is that way. But I felt like the Spice Shop one did a better job of just seeing people as from different aspects of who they could be.
More well-rounded. I did like Before the Coffee Gets Cold. Interesting story. I really wanted to like it. Krista at Books and Jams was talking about another book, Time Hop Coffee Shop, that has kind of a similar concept. And it sounded really good. I think it's being released this fall. I kind of want to read that. I don't read many cozy mysteries. I wonder if I would like one set in World War II.
I think that would probably mostly be a normal mystery, though.
Probably.
Because World War II is so heavy.
Yeah. Dia says she's been reading one. Would you call it cozy, Dia? It's the Homefront Sleuths.
I guess you would have to just adapt it to some sort of formula, probably, to make it a cozy.
Yeah. I first started watching craft videos and then discovered BookTube. And really, I went down the rabbit hole of Christian BookTube through Katie from Paperbacks and Ponytails.
I think Katie connected a lot of people in this community together, and we wouldn't know each other if it hadn't been for Katie.
Yeah. Katie, Chantal, Krista. I haven't finished
them. Okay. So, yeah, it was funny. Was it Jamie that mentioned or was it Reading in Darkness? Somebody mentioned they get like hurt. I think it was Jamie that mentioned Pepper. Of course it was Pepper, duh, for the Spice Shop Mysteries. That they get injured because they're interfering in ways they couldn't. And the Seaside Cafe injuries, she would have serious brain damage about how many times she got a head injury in that series. And I was like, if she hits her head one more time, she's not going to know who she is or who anyone else is, because she's had so many bumps to her head.
Wow. Well, I guess that's the cozy part, because even if she gets injured, it's not.
Yes, you're fine. You're fine the next day. Whereas most people would be like having to go to therapy to relearn how to read and walk and, do all those things. It's like, oh, I'm ready to go back to my tea shop and then, discover another dead body in a couple of days.
I originally watched her Bible journaling channel.
See, I haven't even watched that channel. It's really cool that she has that.
That is cool. Does she still do that? I don't even know.
I don't either.
All right. So you already mentioned, Kelli, that you like Jacqueline Frost under her various pseudonyms. Who are some other cozy mystery authors that you like?
I've only read like one from her, but I loved the kind of magical realism elements of what's her name? Orly Wallace. Oh. She I read In the Company of Witches by her. And so it does have a little bit of magic if you stay completely away from magic. But again, it's very light. And so I liked she was a very lyrical writer with I'm one of those, it's like, I will listen to you talk about how beautiful the flowers are, and some people don't like that. She's a little bit more on the flowery side. I tend to like a little bit more flowery style fantasy as well. Like I like Brandon Sanderson, but he's a little bit too plain spoken for me. Whereas, you know, I can really, I wouldn't recommend any of her real recent ones, but like I could really go for like a Cassandra Clare one because she, you know, it's lots of just beautiful descriptions.
Mhm.
So that's why I really enjoyed hers because even if it wasn't for the typical formulas that are in this, you know, you have animals, certain things happening, there's a dead body, you're in an inn in that one, like a bed and breakfast.
Okay.
It's the beautiful language that a lot of times will bring me back to certain things. And I think that may be what I like about Jacqueline / Julianne / Brie is that just the pretty language.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always a big thing for me. There's another author that a lot of people really like, and she writes a lot of different cozy mysteries. Is it Amanda Flowers?
Amanda Flower.
Yes. Yes, Amanda Flower.
I haven't
She
read a
wrote
lot of
quite a
hers,
few,
but
right?
I need to read more of hers. Have you read hers?
I want to try some others by her. I tried oh, what was that one? All right, I'm looking at her website, see if I can find the one. That it was about a poet, an American poet. What was her name? Oh my goodness. The title of the book was Because I Could Not Stop for Death. Emily Dickinson. It was about Emily Dickinson.
Oh,
And I think
interesting.
Emily Dickinson is the sleuth in the story. But I didn't like, you were talking about the writing being important, like the
Mm-hmm.
actual prose. I wasn't enjoying that. So
Yeah.
I gave up on it. But I want to try some of her others because it may have just been that particular one that was frustrating me. I guess maybe I
Yeah.
was expecting more because it was about Emily Dickinson. But
Yeah.
if it's more prosaic, I might be better able to handle it. But a lot of
So
people,
she does not post anymore. She's actually a fellow Oklahoman. There is a booktuber named Caitlin who her channel is Pride and Paperback. She
oh
also
yeah,
likes Jane Austen quite a bit. And she has like a 20-minute video that I would call the ultimate cozy mystery recommendation video.
wow.
And maybe I'll post that. I'll post that in the on the live in the comments so that you guys can find it. If you are looking for just a very good list of different, she is your ultimate cozy mystery reading queen. She used to have a book club actually with her channel used to be Lauren Love Reads, but it's Lauren Jean now is the channel name. And they used to have a cozy mystery club with somebody else who I didn't really know. Those are two Oklahomies, so I kind of knew of them a little bit more. But yeah, so I will put that. That is like the ultimate cozy mystery reader's guide. Like if you want to watch a 20-minute video on 2x speed, of course, so
Yes.
you can get through it a little faster. I highly recommend that video because it gave me some good things to add to my TBR because there are people out there that is sometimes their primary stuff that they read. But I think that it's just because of the way it makes you feel, you know, and just the way that I feel like it's kind of like a form of therapy for some
Yeah.
people too that I've talked to. It's just very calming to know, like
Mhm.
you said, the formula that it's when you're stressed to know that you can count on everything being okay on the end.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to check out those videos. And I see them in the library. When I go browsing at my public library, I see them,
Mm-hmm.
and some of them have the cutest titles. It makes me really want to read them. Like Amanda Flower has some really cute titles.
I know.
Is she the one who has like some with literary titles? Uh,
I don't know.
books again. Okay, she has a lot of like pet ones. No, it's not her. There's someone, and I can't think of who it is, who has like their titles are all puns that are based on literary things and literary themes. And I think they're probably set in like bookstores and the like. And I can't think of who the author is, but those ones have caught my eye. I've just never actually read them. And my
I'm
library
trying to
has a
think
whole
who
bunch of
that
them.
is.
Maybe somebody who's watching knows what I'm talking about.
I just Googled. Is it like? I just Googled it to see if we had a name. What? No, I guess it's a common theme to have bookstores, cozy mysteries and bookstores
Probably,
too.
yeah.
So, there is a series that's literally just called Bookstore Cozy Mystery.
Oh,
That's by Lucinda Race. I have not read any of hers.
I mean, that could be. I don't know for sure. Probably if I saw the covers, I would know. Dia says that series she was talking about, it's set in a small village with budding romance and a pet companion, and no one in the sloughs dies.
Oh yeah, that really is.
Okay.
Sounds cozy.
Katie still has the Bible journaling channel. Oh, good. The Homefront Sloughs looks interesting. Yes, that does look interesting. And Katie still does her Bible journaling. I like the Amish Candy Shop series.
But yeah, I don't know if she's still here, but Reading in Darkness reads those too.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Googling. That is Amanda Flower. Amish Candy Shop. It looks like it. My quick. Oh, yep. Dia says Amanda Flower. I didn't mean to Google. We've got Dia. Who needs Google when you have Dia?
Yeah.
Funny, I used to watch craft YouTube as well, and only started watching BookTube when I started homeschooling. Didn't even know it was a thing. I think I stumbled across BookTube when I was looking for books for my kids a few years ago. My older son in particular, because he would read so fast and he was always looking for new books. And I didn't have time to read ahead of him.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to get good recommendations. And that's when I discovered BookTube. I think I started it in middle grade March. I watched a whole bunch of recommendation videos.
That's awesome.
Amanda Flower is the one I'm talking about. Okay. I didn't love the Emily Dickerson sleuth books. They were fine. Yeah, I can see that. Melinda Mullet's Whiskey Business. That's funny. Maggie Sefton's Yarn Mysteries. Ooh, yeah, like yarn and crafting ones. That's another popular theme.
Yeah, a lot of times it seems like they're either, shop owners or cooks or creators or some sort of creative. When I've only read, because I wasn't thrilled with them, I can't remember what she published. I think it was under Julia Lindsay. One of her books, she did like pet costumes. I was like, this is the silliest thing. But I know there are people out there who make pet costumes. So I guess it's, if you can make money doing that, I would say go for it.
Yeah. It's fun, at least. It's a fun job.
Yes.
All right. Dia is bringing the recommendations. So Alma and anybody else who is looking for recommendations, Dia has got you. Allison Brooke has a library series. A library, that would be fun. So cozy funny. Mystery titles are always so funny. They are. Always a play on words. Dean James and CJ Archer both have library cozy mysteries. I think that Chantel talks about CJ Archer, if I remember correctly. Victoria Gilbert has a library hotel series. Oh. I would love a library or bookstore series. All right, well, Dia's got you covered. She's got several there. I will try to find, maybe next time I go to the library, I will actually check out one of those books I keep seeing there. Find out
We
who the
can
author
buddy
is.
read one sometime if you
Yeah,
want
that would
to.
be fun.
That might be
Yeah,
fun to do
absolutely.
something like over Christmas. Oh, we
Oh
should
yeah.
see if we find something epistolary cozy
There we
mystery
go.
for January.
For Epistolary January, an epistolary cozy
Not
mystery.
to, you know, not
American.
to ruin the announcement or
Oh, well,
anything.
yeah. Sneak peek, everybody. Epistolary January is coming back. Yeah, is there an epistolary?
Yeah,
There's
Dia,
the
are
Janice
there any
Pollock.
epistolary cozy mysteries that you know of, even if it's just partially? We're asking Dia all the questions. We know
Yeah,
Dia. There's no one that's ever going to be more well read than Dia in our
yes,
lives.
not possible. As all I can think of is the Janice Hallett books. Her books. She has like texts and email and inter-office communications.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that would
Um,
work.
but I don't know that it's cozy per se. It's
Yes.
definitely a mystery. Um, but I don't know what other ones would be. That's a good thought. I have to think about that.
Keep that in the back of our minds.
Yes. Jamie says epistolary cozy would be fun. Yeah, so fun. Well, Janice Hallett does have a Christmas appeal. I mean, I don't know. Christmas feels cozy to me.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. I read the appeal last epistolary January, and I was like, what is going on with this? You know, it wasn't really cozy for sure, but
Yeah.
but yeah, the Christmas one might feel
Yeah.
cozy.
Might qualify more.
And I'm not ready to, I'm one of those people, I'm not ready to give up Christmas. So even though I do not come from, you know, a liturgical background that celebrates Epiphany, I read my Christmas books and keep my tree up and everything until Epiphany. So
yeah.
I can read Christmas in early January.
Yeah. We tend to bring our tree down the weekend before we go back to school when the holiday is over.
Yeah.
Just because otherwise we don't have time.
Yes, that's true. I kind of keep it up even if we started back. We start like the first like Monday after the holiday or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I like having the twinkling lights a little bit longer. And so last year, I just could not handle the idea of not having a tree up. So we have a very skinny one in our dining room and one in our living room. I left the skinny one in our dining room up and I put pink lights on it and hearts.
That's fun.
And I made a little red bow at the top. And I was like, okay, kids, this is our Valentine's tree. Mommy can't handle giving up the lights.
I love it.
I needed some twinkling lights to make me happy in winter. After Christmas, I'm ready for spring. I'm ready for, you know, the longer days again and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So my twinkling lights and anything I can do to make things cozy, which is why I tend to keep even though Christmas over, the cozy reading through January.
Mm-hmm.
And then by February, I'm done. I'm not reading any romance books for Valentine's Day by any means. I'm ready for something else.
Yes. Yeah, our other thing is that we have a live tree every year. So usually by New Year's, it's getting kind of brown. And
we have too many allergy issues to do that. So we're fake all the way at our house. And it would definitely be brown with us.
Yeah. Then the needles start falling like crazy. Look at Dia.
Oh my gosh. Of course. I knew she would come in for us. She would come in clutch. When I'm like trying to find something that I need to have my kids read for school, like I was like, okay, I need a Nordic mythology fiction book. And she was like, okay. And it's just like rattling off these.
That's awesome.
Such a blessing to have people that you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you can trust her recommendations too. As a teacher, I take mine down before I go back to school. Yeah, same. Because when school starts, you just
making a note about Lisa Peavy.
The Hometown Sleuths has some forms. Oh, telegraphs. See that, Kelli?
Oh, yeah. Telegraphs.
That sounds perfect. I may have to put that on my TBR for January.
I know. Maybe that's what we'll read together.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Oh, maybe we should have had a mystery prompt.
Oh yeah. There's always 2027.
Yeah. There you go. So we talked a little bit about like how the Midnight Library was not a cozy book, even though that person said that it was.
Yeah. And I wonder if this person thinks cozy language makes cozy book, because even though I haven't read Midnight Library, I've heard that the writing there are beautiful words basically.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people might just have a different definition of what makes something cozy. I wouldn't think anything about the scenario of that story would be cozy, but
No. And I think by the end, it's heartwarming
Mhm.
once you get through to the end, but the getting there is not. It's heavy and it's deep.
You need cozy from beginning, middle to end.
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
Like there are many cozy aspects to like a mystery writer, like is it Reese or Risbowen? Like I like her mysteries. There are cozy aspects to it, but there are things in there that are too grisly for it to be considered completely cozy to me. It is on the cozier side of a regular mystery. And there are definitely aspects of like even an Agatha Christie that can be cozy at times. If you're reading like, you know, one of the Christmas ones, they're talking about the Christmas pudding or whatever, that is a cozy element, but Agatha Christie is not a cozy mystery writer.
Right.
So,
yeah, I was thinking of Richard Osman because some people said that his Thursday Murder Club series is classified as cozy, but I didn't think so. I didn't. I mean,
it's a little bit too grisly, but it does give me cozy feelings.
It does have
I
like
do
the
like books
food.
that have older people in them.
Yeah, I think the fact that it has the older, you know, grandparent kind of characters. And also like one of them, she's always making these different foods and recipes and whatever. Was it Joyce? I think. I don't one of them. And it has some cozy, it's a small community. But I feel like it just felt a little heavier to me. And the fact that at least I only read the first one so far, but like people kept dying. And it had this almost suspense element of, okay, who's going to be next? And is it somebody that we've met already? Like to me, that was too much. Like I didn't think that.
I think, you know, I can't remember which commenter said this, but if it was you or one of the people commented, but we can't just absolutely love the person that dies. They can't be our favorite person ever. We can't be heartbroken over their death for it to be a traditional cozy mystery. But there are books like Richard Osman's books that that might have elements that just make you feel warm and fuzzy, but there are aspects of them that are like the Mrs. Polifax books. I don't know if you've ever read them.
No, but I've heard
of them. I definitely recommend. I've only read the first one, and it was my daughter and I read it together, and we had the best time with it. We absolutely loved it. And she is just such a warm, comforting character, like just such a cozy old woman that there are aspects of it, but there are grisly things happening. There's kidnappings. There's, you know, people in very uncomfortable situations that they don't get out of in a timely manner. You get kidnapped in cozies, but you're not staying there for the whole book. You know, that would not be a cozy mystery.
Yeah. That makes sense. Let me see. A couple more questions. I guess we kind of sort of covered this, but not specifically in this way. What author or specific books would you recommend for people to try out the genre? Like, you know, Alma hasn't read much in cozy mystery. So like, what would you recommend to her? Like her cozy mystery starter pack?
I mean, I think just because like so many people in the Christian booktube community, Alma, have read these and talked about them, I would start with something like Apple Cider Slaying from Julie and Lindsay, just because when if you talk about it on your channel, you'll have other people say, "Oh yeah," and then so many people you can talk to about it. I think that that makes it fun when other people, have enjoyed it as much as you. But also, I mean, if you are interested in specifics, then just look at everything that Dia put on there.
Yeah.
Like the specific bookstores and libraries and all that.
Oh, I have seen Joanne Fluke. I see her books all the time in like thrift stores. Have you ever read
I
any
have
of hers?
DNF'd a couple of hers. I don't know why. I think I don't know. I just have not been it's not that it was terrible. It's just I wasn't interested enough to continue. And that's something about cozy mysteries. I will DNF like that so fast because if it's a classic and it has stood the test of time, even if I'm not enjoying it, I'm going to try to get through it. At least give it a chance. But if it's a cozy mystery and I just I don't think I'm into it, I'll DNF so fast.
Yeah.
Unless for some reason it was an arc that I'm reading and then I'll finish it. I'll get through it.
Yeah, I'm very similar. I feel like a classic deserves for me to at least try to discover why it's a classic, what other people appreciate about it. But more formulaic books, if I don't like it, I don't need to read it.
Yeah. Because I mean, if you ever are in the mood to try it again, you can always pick it up. It's not like you're sending it to jail. I mean, you can pick it up again.
Yeah. Hometown Sleuths will have a little more grit and danger, but everything always ends okay. Well, that's good. That does sound like a good series. I think I might like. I always recommend Lady Hardcastle.
I haven't read that.
Who wrote that? Or is that the author? They are snarky and fun and smart. Sounds good. I like snarky. I don't like Joanne Fluke or Cleo Coyle. Okay, good to know. Because that was another question I had. Authors that you don't like or recommend.
And see, I don't know how much you enjoyed the Jane Austen kind of cozy. I have not found one that I was able to really love. That is kind of, I'm not really big on that. And I even read one that was Lauren and Caitlin's Cozy Mystery Club that was not even set, but they were doing reenactments of Jane Austen. And it was like almost like The Bachelorette. Let's pick our favorite, Jane Austen-esque character. It was like a dating show. And I was like, my two least favorite things, the Bachelor type stuff. I've never read like that, the Selection series, because the Bachelor type stuff drives me absolutely bonkers. I can't handle that aspect of our culture. And then for some reason, putting Jane Austen in a cozy mystery setting really does not do it for me. But other people who in a lot of other ways read very similar to me really seem to like the Jane Austen cozy mystery stuff. So
I have read 2 in this series by Claudia Gray. So that's where she has the second generation is solving the mysteries. So Lizzie and Mr. Darcy's son. And then I think it's the daughter of the Northanger Abbey people. Can't think of their names at the moment. Anyway, Catherine? Yeah, Catherine and Mr. Tilney, Henry Tilney. Yeah, their daughter. She and Lizzie and Darcy's son, they solve mysteries. And it does have the characters from the various Austen novels in there. I liked them. They were okay, but they moved so slowly, so slowly. And they were pretty clean, but I didn't feel like she really stayed true to all of the characters as Austen had written them. And so that bothered me a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfectly drawn characters, but I would prefer, if you're supposed to be writing about them, that you stick to the way that Austen portrayed them and not add stuff to their character or their
Yeah.
backstory that she didn't put in there. So I didn't like that about some of the characters. And then the one I'm reading now, or what I just finished, and I just noticed she has, the next one is Murder in Donwell Abbey, I think, which is Mr. Knightley's estate. This was actually pretty good. I did enjoy this one. And I felt like it wasn't Austen and she wasn't trying to be Austen, but she did stay true to who the characters were for the most part and what they were like. Mr. Elton, I think she was kind of inconsistent on, but that was part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
That was part of the plot. So, and it was clean. I actually just went and looked at this author, and she has a lot of romance novels with really scandalous covers. So I don't know what her other books are like. Don't recommend them, I don't think, based on site. But this one was clean. And it was definitely cozy, and that it was a small town. And Emma and Mr. Knightley were the sleuths because the constable or whatever, he was completely inept. But you know, in that time in England, that's a likely scenario because the constable was usually just some dude in the village and not someone with training or anything. So he didn't know what he was doing. And Mr. Knightley is the magistrate, which he is in Emma as well. So that makes sense, you know, mm-hmm. So it makes sense that he would be trying to solve the mystery. So I did like that one. I have never wanted to read the series where Jane Austen is the sleuth, just because that seems like such a stretch to me personally.
Yeah, there's one I read, and I don't remember the author's name, where Jane Austen was the sleuth, and but it wasn't set in Regency time. It was like, so her dad was like a barrister, and it was a little bit like more Victorian time, but you're introduced to all the characters as if nobody knows anyone. Like, she doesn't, you know, it was weird.
That is strange.
Very strange.
It's like an alternate reality.
Yes.
But with fictional people. But Jane Austen is real.
It was very weird. I mean, it wasn't supposed to be cozy sci-fi, but it was almost more like cozy sci-fi.
That's funny. And Dia says, Kinsey is the Lady Hardcastle author. Okay. I'll have to look that up, because I don't know that I've even heard of that.
I've heard of it, but I haven't read anything.
Let me Google. Oh, yes. Jen, at Jen's Reading Line. I feel like she talks about them a lot. T.E. Kinsey, A Quiet Life in the Country, Death Around the Bend, In the Market for Murder. Those are some of the titles. Yeah, and I've seen those covers. Okay, those do look good. All right. Any other authors that you don't like?
No, I think that it's just convoluted, even more convoluted than a cozy mystery already is. Scenarios that get me, like weird things with Jane Austen, or taking people's work and making it something really strange, is what I have disliked the most.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've come to the end of the comments. So unless anybody watching has anything else to add, your favorite authors or least favorite authors, books you would recommend people to start with, etc. I think that will wrap up our conversation for today. So thank you, Kelli, for bringing your knowledge of cozy mysteries.
Thank you for having me.
Showing up in the chat. This was fun. My next one is going to be in November with Cheryl, and we're going to be talking about content in books, which will be
Oh,
interesting topic.
yes.
Yeah, what we avoid, where you draw the line, if you should draw the line. There's a lot of nuance to that topic. This has been fun. Yes. Thank you, Jamie, for joining us, and Alma and everybody else who is here. We had a great time. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, the last few hours of your Columbus Day. Thanks for coming, Dia, and sharing all your recommendations. All right. I will see you all around. Thanks for coming. Bye.